Hey guys, welcome to the Chap Show, and oh yeah, that's right. Sorry guys, I forgot to check them out. I'll be right back.
Dance, magic dance. Dance, magic dance.
So I got back from the mail, and someone sent me All Real Monsters for the Super Nintendo. Now I'm not sure why. I never really watched the show. I didn't grow up in the '90s era of Nickelodeon, so I have no idea if the show was good or if this game is any good. But someone sent it, and it had no address and it had no name attached to it. So thank you for the free game, but I would like to know who the fuck sent me this game.
Hello, J-Chip. It's I, the Bargman Hobo. And you know what? I've not forgotten about the little Billy the Wizard stunt you pulled. Do you have any idea how many bargaining games I had to play to get the taste out of my mouth?
Bargain bin hobo, what the fuck are you doing? You're the one that sent me the game. Um, Thanks. And listen, Billy the Wizard is an awful game, and I had no idea that you had traumatic issues with the game. I just want to look for someone to play the game with me.
Well, as punishment, you are going to play Real Monsters for the SNES.
Oh, is it any good?
It's a scary good time. Jeez. I guess I deserve that.
Alright, I guess I'm going to review this game. All Real Monsters is an action-adventure platformer game developed by Real Time Associates and published by Viacom New Media in 1995, released for the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo. As you've seen before, I'll be reviewing the Super Nintendo version. So starting with the positives, this game has awesome graphics for 1995, and it looks exactly like the show. Now, I'll be frank with you guys. I never seen the show. Never have, and I probably never will, but I did watch some clips on YouTube to see what I was getting myself into. And for the most part, the game does look similar to the cartoon on TV. Almost kind of reminds me of Beavis and Butthead for the Sega Genesis. And that game looks phenomenal, and this game does too. And unfortunately, that's where my positives ends. There's a lot about this game that I just did not like and was not having fun. For starters, you play as Ickis, Oblina, and Crumb. And out of the three, Ickis is going to be the one you're going to be using the most because he is the fastest, and overall, he just controls the best. Crumb is just way too slow, and I barely even used him. And Oblina is tall, but that's really all she has going for her. So for me in this game, Ickis was just the way to go. And it's a real shame because they really could have done something better with these characters. Like give them something unique about them that you're like, oh hey, I really want to play as Crumb because he has this ability or he has that. He has that something special about him. But he's just slow and he's heavy as hell. And in this game you do a lot of jumping. So he's not really going to be your main guy. Now, I mentioned that the graphics in this game are really good, and they are. But the backgrounds can honestly be pretty boring. The sounds in this game aren't too bad for a Super Nintendo game, and the music itself is alright, but just seems kind of generic to me. The levels just feel like a maze, and can be confusing at times, and my biggest problem with the levels is that they're too long. Why couldn't this game just shave a bunch of times and just be normal? But the levels are really long, and that leads into my biggest problem with this game, and that is there's no stage select and there's no saving. Like, what the fuck? Like, if you're gonna make your levels this long, why couldn't you have given us a bone? Like, and I do get it. Like, the reason why, there wasn't is because they probably wanted you to rent it a bunch of times at Blockbuster, but I don't know, man. I wish there was a save feature, and there is technically a stage select, but it's through a cheat code, and it's one of the most tedious cheat codes I've ever tried to put in. When you go to the startup screen, you gotta press like R up and press A 5 times and do a bunch of these weird combinations, and you got 5 seconds to do it. So getting it done is pretty freaking hard. And the thing is that the difficulty in this game isn't too bad. You got 2 modes, you got Scary and Nightmare. Nightmare is pretty much your hard mode, Scary is your normal mode. And the controls for this game, honestly, aren't too bad. It's pretty easy getting used to, and it's not too difficult. But the difficult part is just your overall endurance and how much you would want to play this game.
So, what'd you think?
Overall, Our Real Monsters was a big disappointment. I'm sure if I watched the show, I could have some kind of nostalgia where I can look past the game's problems, but unfortunately, I just didn't, and I didn't have fun with the game. It does control nice, and the graphics are beautiful, so I can see why some people would like this game, and that's completely fine, but for me personally, it just wasn't for me.
Now we're even for your Billy the Wizard stunt.
Don't get it twisted, Bargain Bin. This game is way better than Billy the Wizard. And what comes around goes around. Next year, I got something for you.
Huh?
Next year, when the team I pick wins the Super Bowl, you'll be reviewing a game I pick. And trust me, I will not lose like this time.
Well, I invite you to try, my friend. I invite you to try.
Big thanks to Warpbait, Miasma Senpai, and Ash the Man for supporting me on Patreon. You guys are awesome.